It is late. The house is still. Everyone is sound asleep, lost in dreams. Deep, empty rest. But not everyone is still. In one bedroom, a figure rises from their covers. Their eyes are open, but they are not seeing the room. They are seeing something else. Perhaps nothing at all. This person moves with a strange purpose. They navigate around furniture, through doorways, their body awake, their mind firmly switched off. This is the world of the sleepwalker, a place where familiar rules of consciousness no longer apply. It presents a fascinating and unsettling riddle for us all. How is this possible? How can a body perform complex actions without a pilot at the controls? The conscious mind, the part of us that makes decisions and experiences the world, is supposed to be in charge. Yet, in these moments, it is completely absent. The sleepwalker is a ghost in their own home, an automaton acting out a script written by an unseen director. Their actions can be simple, walking to the kitchen, or complex, attempting to drive a car. This phenomenon challenges our understanding of what it means to be awake or asleep, aware or unaware. The mystery of sleepwalking has captivated people for centuries. It has been explained as spiritual possession, a sign of madness, or a curious medical quirk. But what is really happening inside the brain when someone gets up and walks in their sleep? What parts of the mind are active and which are dormant? The sleepwalker exists in a twilight state, a gray area between waking life and deep slumber. They are a living paradox, a body in motion with a mind left far behind. This journey will pull back the curtain on this strange behavior. We will explore the hidden neurological pathways that allow movement without thought. We will investigate the triggers, stress, sickness, genes we inherit from our parents. We'll look at how different cultures have viewed these night wanderers, and what modern science is discovering in high-tech sleep laboratories. The goal is to move from mystery to clarity, to understand what drives the body when the mind is away on its own silent, nightly vacation. It is a quest to understand one of the brain's most peculiar secrets. To understand sleepwalking, we must first understand sleep itself. Sleep is not a simple state of being switched off. It is an active, highly structured process. Our nightly journey is divided into distinct stages, each with its own unique brain activity. The two main types are non-rapid eye movement sleep and rapid eye movement sleep. We cycle through these stages several times each night. NREM sleep is further broken down into 3 phases. Stage 1, light drowsiness. Stage 2, deeper, heart rate and body temperature drop. Stage 3, slow wave sleep, deepest restorative rest. This progression is like descending a staircase into the depths of unconsciousness. The first stage of NREM is a brief, light sleep where we can be easily awakened. The second stage is a bit deeper. But the real magic happens in the third stage, known as slow wave sleep. This is the deepest phase of our slumber. During this time, our brain produces large, slow delta waves. It is in this state that the body repairs tissues. It builds bone and muscle. It strengthens the immune system. It is also the phase most disconnected from our conscious awareness. It is incredibly difficult to wake someone from slow wave sleep. If you do, they are often groggy and disoriented for several minutes. On the other hand, REM sleep is where most of our vivid dreaming occurs. Our brain activity during REM looks surprisingly similar to when we are awake. Our eyes dart back and forth beneath our eyelids. To prevent us from physically acting out these intense dreams, our brain has a clever safety mechanism. It sends signals down the brainstem to paralyze our voluntary muscles. This state, called atonia, keeps us safely locked in our beds. This neat separation between mind and body is a crucial part of a normal night's sleep. The sleep cycle is a delicate and well-orchestrated ballet. We move from lighter NREM into deep SWS, then cycle back up into REM. This cycle lasts about 90 to 110 minutes, and we repeat it 4 or 5 times a night. The deepest periods of slow-wave sleep tend to occur in the first third of the night. This timing is important. It is precisely during these initial, deep dives into unconsciousness that the stage is set for sleepwalking. The brain is at its most distant from the waking world, creating the perfect conditions for a strange neurological event to unfold. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is essentially a glitch in this carefully managed sleep architecture. It is not related to REM sleep. Sleepwalkers are not acting out their dreams. In fact, the absence of muscle paralysis in REM sleep is the problem. Sleepwalking arises from deep NREM slow-wave sleep. It happens when arousal from deep sleep is incomplete. Something attempts to wake the brain, but the process gets stuck halfway. The result? A bizarre hybrid state of consciousness. A mind caught between two worlds. Imagine the brain as a control panel with many switches. During deep sleep, most switches are off. Switches for consciousness, rational thought, memory formation. The switch for basic motor function, still accessible. An internal stimulus can partially flip the wake-up switch. An external stimulus can partially flip the wake-up switch, but it doesn't flip fully. Motor control centers can come online, letting the body get up and move. Higher cognitive centers remain sound asleep. This partial arousal is the key. The person can perform actions, walking, opening doors, preparing food. Yet they have no conscious awareness or memory later. It is an arousal disorder, a disruption in the normal transition from deep sleep to full wakefulness. Brain scans of sleepwalkers show this strange division. The parts of the brain that control movement and spatial navigation show activity, while the frontal cortex remains quiet and the prefrontal cortex remains quiet, still showing the slow delta waves characteristic of deep sleep. Hence the classic signs: glassy, vacant stare, clumsy or robotic movements, and lack of response to the environment. Eyes open, but not conscious seeing. They process enough visual input to avoid obstacles, but that input doesn't reach conscious brain regions. They operate on autopilot via primitive circuits. A strange demonstration of brain parts acting independently, creating someone both asleep and awake. Section 4. The triggers of nocturnal wandering. What causes this partial arousal? A variety of factors can act as triggers, pushing a susceptible individual toward a sleepwalking episode. These triggers make it harder for the brain to maintain a stable state of deep sleep. Common triggers. Overview. Sleep deprivation. When you're overtired, your body craves deep, slow-wave sleep. That intense, deeper than usual sleep is harder to transition out of. Illness, particularly fever, is another common trigger. A fever can disrupt the brain's regulatory functions and the sleep-wake cycle. Alcohol can also provoke sleepwalking. A drink may help you fall asleep, but it fragments sleep later in the night. As the alcohol wears off, the brain can rebound, causing abrupt, incomplete arousals. Certain medications are also known to increase the risk of sleepwalking. Sedatives and hypnotics used for insomnia, some types of antidepressants, and some antipsychotic medications. Paradoxically, these drugs can alter sleep architecture and make partial arousals more frequent. Finally, there's a strong genetic component. Sleepwalking often runs in families. Scientists have identified specific gene variations linked to somnambulism. For these individuals, small triggers can be enough: stress, or a single sleepless night. That might be all it takes to send someone walking while their conscious mind is still lost in the dark. The stressed out sleeper. The brain's delicate sleep cycle is highly sensitive to our emotional state. Psychological factors are powerful triggers for sleepwalking. Stress, anxiety. When under significant mental pressure, our bodies release stress hormones: cortisol, adrenaline. These hormones are part of our fight-or-flight response, keeping us alert and ready for danger. At night, their presence can disrupt the transition into deep, restorative sleep. The brain stays in heightened vigilance, prone to abrupt, partial arousals, leading to a sleepwalking episode. Imagine the brain as a security system that should power down at night. High stress from work, relationships, or major life changes keeps the alarm partially armed. Any small disturbance, an unfamiliar noise, a full bladder, an internal thought, can trip the wire. The disturbance may not fully wake you, but can jolt the motor system into action while the conscious mind sleeps. For those predisposed, intense anxiety can spike nocturnal wandering. Traumatic events can trigger or worsen sleepwalking and parasomnias. PTSD sufferers often have hyperarousal and fragmented sleep. Their nights are interrupted by nightmares, a persistent sense of threat. This constant alertness can precipitate somnambulism. Sleepwalking can be linked to trauma, reenacting or escaping distress while unconscious. Managing psychological health is crucial. Mindfulness, meditation, cognitive behavioral therapy. These practices calm the nervous system and lower stress hormones before bed. A peaceful mental environment helps the brain move through sleep stages without jarring interruptions. Addressing psychological turmoil is key to keeping the sleepwalker safely in bed all night. Long before science could explain the sleeping brain, humanity struggled to make sense of the nightwalker. In a world lit only by fire and moonlight, the sight of a person moving with open but unseeing eyes was deeply unsettling. Without the concept of partial arousal or sleep stages, ancient cultures turned to the supernatural for answers. Sleepwalking was often seen not as a medical condition, but as an act of spiritual interference. It was widely believed that a person's soul or spirit could leave their body during sleep. A wandering body was simply a vessel left temporarily empty, or worse, inhabited by another entity, a ghost, a demon, a displeased ancestor. These beliefs were widespread across many different cultures and civilizations. In some folklore, a sleepwalker was thought to be possessed, their body controlled by an external force with its own mysterious agenda. This interpretation often brought fear and suspicion upon the sleepwalker, who might be subjected to exorcisms or rituals to cast out the invading spirit. In other traditions, the sleepwalker was seen as under a magical spell, a victim of witchcraft. These interpretations painted the sleepwalker as a passive figure, their actions dictated by malevolent powers beyond their control, making them objects of pity as much as fear in their communities. The term somnambulism comes from the Latin words somnus and ambulare, reflecting a long-standing fascination with the phenomenon. In some mythologies, sleepwalkers were believed to have a special connection to the moon, and were called lunatics for this reason. It was thought that the lunar cycle had a direct and powerful influence over their behavior, drawing them out of their beds on nights when the moon was full. Perhaps the most famous literary sleepwalker is Lady Macbeth from William Shakespeare's tragedy, Macbeth. In Act 5, Scene 1, she is seen walking in her sleep, wringing her hands, trying to wash away an imaginary bloodstain, all while confessing her role in King Duncan's murder. Her somnambulism is a physical manifestation of her tormented conscience, a mind so burdened by guilt that it cannot find rest even in sleep. Shakespeare's depiction cemented the image of the sleepwalker as a figure haunted by secrets. The sleepwalker is often a character whose inner turmoil is too great for conscious containment, spilling out into actions while they are asleep and vulnerable. This lets audiences witness true feelings, unfiltered by social convention. The mystery of sleepwalking has not been confined to folklore and fiction. It has also entered the solemn and serious world of the legal system. This has given rise to a rare but fascinating legal defense known as the homicide while sleepwalking defense, or homicidal somnambulism. One of the most famous and well-documented cases occurred in 1987 in Canada. A man named Kenneth Parks drove 23 kilometers to his in-laws' house, where he attacked them, killing his mother-in-law and severely injuring his father-in-law. He then drove to a police station and reportedly said, "I think I have killed some people." His defense team argued that he had been sleepwalking the entire time, citing his personal history of sleep disorders, his family history of sleep disorders, as well as the extreme stress he was under at the time. The court was presented with extensive evidence from sleep specialists who had monitored Parks's brain activity. EEG results showed that he had highly unusual sleep patterns, confirming a severe sleep disorder. The experts testified that it was medically plausible for him to have performed such complex actions without any conscious awareness. After much deliberation, the jury acquitted him of all charges. The Supreme Court of Canada later upheld the acquittal, establishing a legal precedent that actions performed during a genuine episode of somnambulism do not meet the standard for a voluntary criminal act. These cases force the legal system to grapple with complex questions about consciousness, intent, and responsibility. How can a court prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, what was happening inside a person's mind when they themselves have no memory of the event? The sleepwalking defense is extremely difficult to prove and is used very rarely, as courts are rightly skeptical of such claims. However, the handful of documented cases where it has been successful highlight the profound challenge that sleepwalking poses to our fundamental assumptions about human agency and moral culpability, showing that the mysteries of the brain can extend all the way into the courtroom. Inside the sleep laboratory. To truly understand what happens during a sleepwalking episode, scientists need to see it unfold in real time. This is where the sleep laboratory comes in. Before the night begins, a technician attaches a series of sensors. The process is painless. Electrodes are placed on the scalp to measure brain waves. Sensors near the eyes track eye movements. Sensors on the chin monitor muscle tone. All the wires are bundled so the person can move in bed. Patient settles into bed. Lights go off. Observation begins. In a separate control room, technologists watch multiple screens. They see brain waves shift from wakefulness into the slower rhythms of sleep. They watch progression through different sleep stages. An infrared camera records every movement in the dark. That visual record is crucial. Researchers correlate physical activity, a simple leg twitch or a full-blown sleepwalking episode, with the data. The study, a polysomnogram, yields a multi-layered dataset. It shows the brain in action, how the body is breathing, and what the muscles are doing, moment to moment. For sleepwalking research, this is invaluable. If an episode occurs, the team can pinpoint the exact moment it began. They can see which sleep stage it emerged from. They can analyze the unique brain activity signature that accompanied the behavior. It turns a mysterious event into concrete data ready for scientific analysis. Decoding the sleeping brain. When scientists analyze the EEG data from a sleepwalking episode, they see a strange and contradictory picture. The brain scans show a mix of different frequencies at the same time. Parts of the brain, particularly the frontal and prefrontal cortices responsible for conscious thought, continue to display the large, slow delta waves characteristic of deep NREM sleep. This tells us that the thinking part of the brain is indeed still asleep and offline during the event. Simultaneously, however, other parts of the EEG show faster brain waves, like alpha and beta waves, which are normally associated with a state of quiet wakefulness. These signals often originate from the brain's motor and sensory regions. This hybrid pattern is the neurological signature of somnambulism. It is the concrete evidence of a brain that is divided against itself, with some areas remaining in a deep slumber while others have partially awakened. This scientific observation validates what we see in the sleepwalker's behavior, a body that can move and navigate its environment, but a mind that has no self-awareness or conscious control over its actions. One exciting frontier is genetics. Researchers are identifying the specific genes involved. They use advanced genetic sequencing on large groups of sleepwalkers and their families. Another frontier, pharmacology. Scientists want meds that stabilize sleep without sedative side effects. The goal, maintain stable, slow-wave sleep and prevent the partial arousals that trigger walking. Beyond drugs, neuromodulation. Techniques use electrical stimulation and magnetic stimulation to influence brain activity. One example, transcranial direct current stimulation, or TDCS. Finally, advanced brain imaging like functional MRI. Studies show subtle differences in neural connections in sleepwalkers. That suggests predisposition may be linked to daytime brain wiring, not just night function. Despite advances, studying sleepwalking is still a major challenge. The first and most obvious limitation is unpredictability. Someone who sleepwalks at home may spend nights in a lab and never have a single episode. There are also serious ethical considerations. Researchers must ensure participant safety. It's a delicate balance between a controlled experiment and the safety and well-being of the human subject. We can see the brain's activity, but we can never truly know what it feels like, if anything. This is a fundamental barrier. The inner world of the sleepwalker remains silent and inaccessible. Our journey into the world of the sleepwalker has taken us from ancient myths to modern laboratories. We began with a simple, unsettling mystery. How can a person be both asleep and awake at the same time? We have seen that the answer is not simple. It is a biological glitch, a partial arousal from the deepest stage of sleep. It happens when the brain's motor controls switch on, but its center for conscious awareness remains powered down, lost in the quiet of the night. This phenomenon teaches us something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. It reveals that our consciousness is not a single, monolithic entity. But sleepwalking shows us that the line between these two worlds is not a solid wall. It is a thin, permeable membrane. The sleepwalker is a living paradox. They are a body in motion without a mind to guide it, an actor without a script. The waking dawn. The journey from mystery to clarity has shown us that this strange behavior is a product of many interconnected factors. The sleepwalker's journey almost always ends in the same way. The episode subsides. The person returns to their bed. They awaken with no knowledge of their nocturnal travels, ready to begin a new day, their conscious mind once again firmly in control of their body. The night walker has come home. It reminds us that even during our most inactive state, the brain is a dynamic and active place, full of complex processes that we are only just beginning to map and comprehend. The mind is more mysterious than we realize. Subscribe to Kendu Global Files for more 20-minute documentaries that reveal the hidden workings of the human brain and behavior.